What's going on, guys? Coach Snoop back in the building with another one. As usual, it's going to be jam packed full of jewels. Anytime is always appreciated because you can be doing anything, but you're going to be checking out these reviews. And you already know it's another crazy one, man, about a husband who killed his wife and then, well, he killed himself. Not before he injured his wife, man, in a murder suicide, bro. So let's get to it.
Also developing right now at noon, a domestic shooting turning deadly in southwest Miami-Dade. Deputies say a man shot his wife before turning the gun on himself. Local 10's Hannah Yashivi is live at the scene. And she has the very latest on this latest attempted murder-suicide. Hearing about these things, though, far, far too often, Hannah.
All right, man. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health, decision making, bro. And look, a domestic turn into a violent shooting, bro. It's always an argument, man. Just control your emotions when you dealing with your wife, bro. With women in general, man. With everybody for real though, because it doesn't matter like the situation. If you can't control your emotions, then that puts you in a mentally unstable place, bro. And then we all know that leads to making decisions that you're not in control of because you're in your feelings, man. And when you're in your feelings, you don't make good decisions. They're always irrational, they're always illogical. And, you know, by the time you come back to you did something that you wouldn't normally do because you're out your body, acting crazy, not listening, and not responding with, a logical answer, man. And it's just a lot of back and forth, and nobody's listening to anybody at that point, man. When it's a fight, because you're both trying to get your point across, and you don't care about what the other person is saying, and then it's downhill from there for real, man.
Christy, Janice, this is such a quiet neighborhood that some of the neighbors I spoke to this morning are completely shocked that there was a shooting between the husband and wife that live right here at this home. A shooting that neighbors say they didn't hear taking place inside of this corner house in southwest Miami-Dade at the 1200 block of Southwest 376th Street. A detective with the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office says last night after 10, deputies got here and found an adult man and a woman with gunshot wounds who were husband and wife. According to neighbors, this is the couple, her name Carla Toscano and her husband Javier Perez. The detective says a gun was found right next to Javier. He died from a self-inflicted wound, but not before turning that gun and shooting his own wife, Carla.
Yeah. So this is an example of being in your feelings, bro. It got so deep, man. The argument turned into a domestic, and it turned into a shooting, bro. And then you made a decision, bro, to shoot your wife, man. And he thought he killed her, so he shot himself, man, and he didn't make it. Now that really could have been avoided, man, just by being able to have the mental capacity to be able to walk away, bro. You know, we all know that women like to argue and stuff, bro, because they deal with chaos. They deal in, what I'm saying, off of their emotions and how they feel, and that's how they base their life. So they're not always gonna make the most rational decision. That's why it's up to us as men to make the best decisions for everybody, bro. And you already know the decisions you make affect you and everyone around you, man. So as a man, when you're not thinking clear, bro, you already know your wife ain't thinking logical like that, man. She's thinking with her feelings, bro. And we all know that nobody makes good decisions based off of how they feel. It's about what the fact is. And it's about what's gonna happen after you make those type of decisions, man. And as you can see, when you think like that, it's never it really doesn't ever end well for anybody, man. When both people are thinking like that, it definitely doesn't end well, bro. And the only thing that does happen is somebody ends up getting hurt and somebody ends up going to jail, or both people end up hurt, somebody ends up dead, something like that. People get traumatized. You affect your family and friends off of this type of stuff. And then, you just, it's too late to change anything after you're gone, man. Which he probably would have if he would have just really thought about what he was doing in that moment, man, and how it was going to affect him. So you could tell he was in his, not thinking straight, bro. To pop your wife, and then he thought she was out of there because she probably wasn't moving or something after that. It probably knocked her out. So then he decided to turn the gun on himself and pop himself, bro. And he really didn't make it, man.
She was airlifted in critical condition from the Dade Correctional Facility. This morning, neighbors here in disbelief that the husband tried to kill her and then took his own life. Both of their cars, according to neighbors, still on the driveway.
Where else would the cars be? I mean, they're not there to drive them. Nobody else is gonna move them for them. You know what I'm saying? They going through what they going through right now. That's the last thing on somebody's mind is a car after they just been through, what I'm saying, what she went through. And then, yeah, he thought he killed his wife. So, what I'm saying? He shot himself and he actually did kill himself, man.
All of this as detectives from the homicide unit are looking into the circumstances surrounding this attempted murder suicide. Detectives also sharing this domestic incident is isolated, and we will continue to stay here and bring you the very latest.
Domestic incident, man, which again, like it's never a good thing, bro. Have an outlet, man. Have something to do. Have somewhere to go when you start finding yourself arguing, going back and forth, man. And then anyway, man, you already know you shouldn't have to put your hands on your wife, bro. Because why did you? You didn't have to do that when you got with her, man. And you definitely don't have to do it when you're just having a discussion, man. And the discussion shouldn't ever turn into an argument because we all know that arguments turn into domestics and domestics can get messy, bro, and turn into something else, either death or going to jail or something like that, man. So, you just really have to even think about, leaving the marriage. If that's what's gonna happen, bro, like you trying to talk to your wife and then you guys end up arguing all the time or something like that, that means it's not meant to be, man. And staying in a situation that's not good for you, it'll lead to this too, man. Somewhere you don't want to be. So being able to walk away completely is sometimes the healthiest for everybody, man. I ain't say if they had kids or not or something like that, which they probably didn't then, but they definitely had family and friends and all of that, man. And they had a future, bro, before they got into this, man. At like this deep, bro. And that's what walking away does too, man. It gives you a chance to have a future outside of, your last marriage, man. It gives you a time to get your mind right. It gives you a time to get back to you and to really find people that you match up with. People that you don't have to argue with. You don't have to get into a domestic. You don't even think about that person in that way, man. Especially like pulling a gun on them and taking their life or attempting to, and then taking your life. Because once you thinking like that about somebody that you're around every day, that's definitely a sign to get up out of there, man. That's a major red flag, bro. Should never have to do that. Anyways, man, it's Coach Noob. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're digging this kind of content. And your time is always appreciated because you could be doing anything but you hear me checking out these reviews. Until next time, I'm out.